Thank you all for joining us today. We're very excited to partner once again with the Inland Empire Economic Partnership on this Workforce Investment Roundtable. My name is Sandra Magana-Cuellar, as you all heard, and I'm the Director of Government Affairs for Charter Communications in the Inland Empire. And you all know Charter by its brand name, Spectrum. I wish to thank the team at Inland Empire Economic Partnership, also known as IEP, for including us in their workforce events. Today, you will be hearing from us and learning about Spectrum's workforce investment. We take our investment in our people seriously and believe it's time to tell the community about all we do for our people. IEP has been a great partner in helping us tell that story. We worked together last October on a workforce roundtable at our Ontario facility, and what a difference 9 months makes. We are now, because of the pandemic, gathered virtually to host another event. IEP has the tools and resources to help take this program to an online platform. So again, they are an incredible partner. And I'm really excited and honored to let you all know that we have a special message from a distinguished Inland Empire leader to help kick us off today. Assemblymember Sabrina Cervantes was not able to join us, but she did pre-record a message. I did want to share a little bit about her bio. She represents the 60th Assembly District and is currently the chair of the Assembly Committee on Jobs, Economic Development, and the Economy, which is relevant to our discussion today. As the first Latina millennial elected to the State Assembly, Sabrina has worked continuously to serve her community and enhance the quality of life for Riverside County residents. Her top priorities include veterans, public safety, transportation, higher education, and the economy. In her first term, she authored legislation to support veterans, students, seniors, and working families, including 14 bills, which were signed into law. And in addition, she secured $427 million in critical transportation funding, and was instrumental in restoring funding for some of our newest cities, including Jurupa Valley and Eastvale. She's had an extensive career in public policy and public service. She is a life resident of Riverside County and earned her Bachelor's of Arts at University of California, Riverside, and completed an executive education program at Harvard University's John F. Kennedy School of Government. And adding to her list of achievements is having triplets just last year. So John, if you can please play her video.
Uh-oh, no sound.
Assembly members, and I proudly represent California's 60th Assembly District, which includes the cities of Corona, Norco, Eastvale, Jurupa Valley, and the portions of the city of Riverside. I also serve as chair of the Assembly Committee on Jobs, Economic Development, and the Economy. It is wonderful to be with you all today. Our community colleges provide invaluable opportunities for our future generations, connecting students with knowledge, skills, and resources to succeed. Community colleges are not only pillars in our communities, but are drivers for our economy. And they benefit not only our students, but our neighbors, our towns, and our state. Our community colleges serve over 2 million students. As career counselors serving those students, you know how important it is that our students be connected with learning opportunities in the classrooms and jobs beyond the classrooms, such as, you can tell in the background how excited my triplets are to hear this information. Equally important part of our mission is to support our veterans and many others who often experience obstacles in accessing basic and advanced training that lead to living wage jobs. As chair of the Assembly Committee on Jobs, I have supported policies that drive upward mobility and build independent economic security for all Californians. And I remain committed to ensuring that our students have career pathways that support business needs and provide greater opportunities for workers and entrepreneurs. This year, I voted to support a budget that provides $150 million to the California Career Technical Education Incentive Grant Program, as well as another $150 million to the Strong Workforce Program, in order to prepare our students with the skills they need for living wage jobs. During these unprecedented times, it is more important than ever that we support the advancement and economic growth for all Californians. As vital that our next generation of leaders have the tools that they need to meet the jobs of today and tomorrow. And I will continue to advocate for a prosperity agenda that includes all of California. my belief that we will emerge from today's challenges stronger than ever before. And everyone here today has a very important part to play in that very important work. We are all in this together. Thank you so much for your time.
So I want to thank the Assembly member for helping us with our virtual event. And as you all can see, it's the new normal now with all kinds of sounds from our households. We're all kind of making our way through this virtual reality we're living now in our day-to-day work. So with that, I want to just give you a brief overview of Charter Communications. Our Spectrum, as I mentioned, our brand name. Spectrum is the leading broadband connectivity company and cable operator. We serve more than 29 million customers in 41 states over our advanced communications network. We offer a full range of state-of-the-art residential and business services, including Spectrum Internet, TV, mobile, and voice. In the Inland Empire, we run over 60 facilities that includes operational buildings and our storefronts and employ about 1,000 employees. Our priority is to provide the best customer service with the best people, which you will be hearing more about from our panelists. We are the largest broadband service provider in the region, and during this pandemic, we are doing our part to help. I wanted to just give you an idea of what we've been doing. It's not an extensive list, but we have connected thousands of students, teachers, and families to 100 or 200 megs broadband service for 60 days free of charge. And this was done nationally as a response to the sudden distance learning students and teachers were grappling with. We also suspended collections and late fees or terminating service for residential or small business customers. We donated $12 million in airtime to run PSAs. So we know these are trying times and are doing what we can to support our community as best as possible. And with that, I'd like to share a brief video that captures Spectrum's presence across the country and the depth of services we provide. And John's going to go ahead and get that video going.
This, a wide range of ideas, a broad scope of solutions, ideas that inspire innovation and advance technology. Solutions, superior products and service to more than 28 million customers in 41 states. Spectrum is connecting more people to fast, reliable internet and Wi-Fi, providing crystal clear HDTV, and expanding our voice capabilities to include mobile phone service to meet the demand for a better wireless experience. Our drive to deliver superior service goes far beyond the home. Spectrum provides powerful network support and advertising solutions to help businesses, large and small, reach their goals. We're in your neighborhoods, covering the local stories and events with exclusive 24/7 news and sports programs. We have 98,000 well-trained, dedicated employees. From military veterans to those just entering the workforce, to a new generation of pioneers and creators, Spectrum offers dynamic career opportunities to a diverse range of talent. Our dependable 700,000-mile network is fueling new ideas, energizing new endeavors, and empowering our customers to achieve their full potential. This wide range of ideas, this broad scope of solutions, this is Spectrum.
Great, thanks so much for allowing us to share that with folks today. And now, please let me hand this over to our moderator for today's session, Annalisa Worm, the Director of Education and Workforce Development for the Inland Empire Economic Partnership. Annalisa, thank you for all your help in gathering us here today, and please take it away.
Thank you so much, Sandra. Thank you to the Spectrum team for helping us organize this session. We're very excited to hear from our 4 panelists today on careers with Spectrum. I'd like to introduce them briefly before we get into our panel discussion. For folks participating on the call, again, if you have a question you'd like to present, please insert it in the chat and we will be going through those questions one by one, answering as many as we can here and later after our panel discussion. So with that, I'd like to introduce our 4 panelists. First, we have Sandra Castaneda. She's the recruiter for direct sales. Robbie Roberts, the recruitment manager in the stores and retail division. Rosie Pimentel, the recruiter for Spectrum call centers. And Miller Scott, who's the field operations manager. Thank you all for being on today. We appreciate your time and your willingness to join us. So thank you. Thank you for that. For our first question, kind of just our intro, what types of jobs do you recruit for? Specifically within your title, we get a little bit of a sense of that. But what are the specific jobs that might be included within your purview? And I'll go ahead and start with Robbie.
Good morning. Thank you for having us. The types of positions that my team recruits for are our store associates. So people that work within our stores. We have our entry-level spot, which is a greeter. Our secondary position, which is somewhat entry-level as well, which is our store associate, the salesperson within the store. And then our assistant store managers are the key positions that we recruit for our stores. In our retail partnership team, we recruit kind of a second-tier sales position for those when they do come up, and it's not as often as our stores.
Well, thanks, Robbie. Next, I'll turn the question to Rosie.
Hi, good morning. So we currently recruit for inbound call center customer service representatives for our technical support call center. We basically recruit for people that have technical support experience, call center experience within the West region.
Thank you, Rosie. Sandra?
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having us. I recruit for the direct sales, outside direct sales position, which is residential door-to-door. And yes, literally door-to-door, going to different doorsteps, single homes. Because I say that because I get that all the time. They literally say literally door-to-door, so yes. It's basically, you know, going to people's doorsteps and making a sale and offering our 4 services that we have to offer, which is cable, internet, phone line, and mobile service to make a sale.
Thanks, Sandra. And Miller? Oh, let me unmute you, Miller. Hold on.
That would work.
Oh, let me do it one more time.
How about now? What do you got?
There we go.
You got me now?
We can hear you now.
Well, looks like I was muted for a minute there, but I'm back. So, I work for the field side of Spectrum. Probably the most well-known when you see vans and things like that. We come in and service, whether we do installs or service work. We provide service to not only to residential, but also commercial and even government buildings. So we're pretty much the face when we come to the face of the company when it comes to interactions with customers.
Thanks, folks. Our second question is, what type of experience or education and corporate culture fit do you look for in a candidate? Again, folks, we'll be inserting these questions in the chat so you can follow along. And for this, I'll start with Rosie.
So for the experience, we're looking for basic technical support experience, customer service, as it is an entry-level position. We do train, so that's what we're looking for is just basic technical support. Customer service is very important. Excuse me.
Wonderful, thank you. Sandra.
Yes, experience, we would like them to have some sales background experience. that would be a plus, but we do give a 2 weeks hands-on virtual out in the field training, which is very extensive, 8 to 10 days. So we are willing to train. We're looking for somebody just with a positive attitude, outgoing and well-driven, because even though it's a door-to-door, it doesn't fit for everybody, right? So you do have to be willing to train and learn the part of the business out in the field, because it's not easy getting, rejected and not maybe getting the answers at the door. So we fully train you on what you need to be successful out in the field.
Thank you, Sandra. Miller, experience, education, kind of fit. Where do those lie within your realm?
So we are very entry level. We will take pretty much anybody as far as, experience level goes. Ideally, though, we would have somebody that has customer service, because that really is the largest thing. We do provide training on the technical side. It's a lot harder to teach somebody with customer service. If you're used to working on your own, that's obviously a big benefit, because we are not in an office environment. Your office is really whatever city you work in. And so we need somebody that's capable of being responsible, being on their own. And we also provide a 5-week training program, initial 5-week training program to get anyone the technical skills to do the job. So we really focus on that customer service piece.
Wonderful. Robbie?
For our stores positions, we really look for people that have that positivity, a great face-to-face presentation with a customer, who are always smiling, who are not afraid to speak to people, because it is a sales environment. So we need people who are assertive to a degree, but not aggressive. People who are happy, motivated, who want to earn that extra. Our people get a base hourly rate plus commissions, so they've got to be hungry for that. So we're looking for people that are happy and hungry and motivated, and who don't shy away from a technology environment, because everything that we touch is very technical. So people need to be, okay with that, as most people are right now. I think everybody's used to their technology and can move in that way. But those are the type of folks we look for. We do give an assessment, so it helps evaluate folks on suitability for the job as well.
Great, thanks folks. That's very helpful background. Kind of dovetailing, is there a career kind of progression within your department or unit for the positions that you recruit for? Miller, you mentioned mostly entry level, but what does it look like within each of your units? And with that, I'll start with Sandra for this question.
You know what, same as Miller, I mean, we offering the training, and anybody that's willing to do the door-to-door. I mean, the position will go from there, but honestly, anybody that's able to go out there and make and sell, like Robbie just mentioned, it's a base salary plus on-cap commission. That motivates a lot of the candidates to go out there and do it.
Great, thank you. Miller, career progression, what does it look like for your people in the field?
For our team, it's actually pretty amazing. We have, from the initial hiring point, we have 2 slots that they can progress through doing some coursework and gaining some knowledge and performance-based. We also have a vet apprentice program. We have a regular apprentice program. And once you reach the top tier, there's actually promotional opportunities that open up for you as you gain that knowledge. So you can make a very good living as a field technician. While it's entry level, you can definitely move up and absolutely provide a great, provision for your family. However, getting that knowledge, you're able to branch out to multiple different locations within the company. So, really the sky's the limit. It's how much effort you put in and your attitude and, that sort of thing. But we really do have quite a few options when it comes to career progression and just learning the overall business.
Absolutely. Robbie, what about you and your team?
Yeah, in our stores organization, there is definitely upward mobility, and we do look to promote people from within. If you start as a greeter, the next logical step would then to be a sales associate, moving to that role. Sales associates then have the opportunities to move up in our leadership roles once they open to assistant store manager, area manager, on up to our senior managers and our senior directors. We tend to always look to our inside bench when promoting and filling those roles. So we definitely try to promote our people. There's a lot of educational tracks that people can take and skills they can build to be ready for those roles when they do come up. So they work very closely with their leadership team to be ready to take on those roles when they come.
Thank you for that. And last but not least, Rosie, for this question on career progression.
Thank you. Very similar to Miller and Robbie. So as entry level, definitely you are able to progress into different tiers, Rep 2, Rep 3, and each tier does, they can get up to a 10% salary increase on top of their yearly increase that we offer. But as well as we love to hire internally for those leadership positions. So definitely sky's the limit. So possibilities are endless here.
Great, thank you all. Our next
Annalise,
question. Go ahead.
If I could just add, I probably should have added this when I was speaking, but I actually did start as a field tech, and I moved all the way up through manager. I mean, so it is very feasible, and I would assume that the rest of the panelists probably have a very similar story. We definitely do a good job of promoting from within and making opportunity for anybody that's willing to take it. Thought I'd add.
Thank you. That's great. That's great to hear, and it sounds like a great company to be with. Next question talks about training and the types of job training. I know a few of you mentioned this already, but what type of training or on-the-job training and also internships does Spectrum provide for the jobs you recruit for specifically? And I'll start with Robbie for this one.
Great. So in the stores organization, we don't have internships available for the store's positions. But when you start in the store, everyone takes a products and services course at the beginning. So the greeters and the associates would take that course, and any new assistant store managers, if they came to the organization from outside, would take that training as well. It involves both some pre-work before the actual virtual class starts, as well as a virtual class that starts their second week of employment. And that virtual class takes about half a day for 4 weeks. And then the second half of the day, they're on the floor working with their peers, learning and observing on the different things that take place in the stores and the different customer interactions. But we don't put people in front of the customer, face-to-face with the customer, until they've really completed their training, feel really comfortable, and understand the products, services, and the billing system, which is probably the more complex part of the job, is working with the systems and understanding how they all relate to each other. So it's a total of 5 weeks of training before they are hitting the floor themselves.
Thanks for that background. Rosie, training, job training, internships, what does that look like?
So unfortunately here at the call center, we don't offer internship, but we do an extensive 6-week training period, which includes a 2-week on-the-job training. So basically they're in the class. We do virtual here at the call center, which allows for us for social distancing. But with the virtual training, our agents in training are able to observe existing agents while on live calls to hear and see what the agents do. And for existing agents, we do offer weekly meetings to share the process and tools, instructor-led trainings and meetings.
Great, thank you, Rosie. Sam, what does training look like in your unit?
Same as Rob and Rosie, we don't offer the internship, but we do offer extensive 2 weeks hands-on training virtual. Right now, as you all know, we're all doing virtual. I know the first day of contact is more virtual than in the office. They do get a schedule for the following week. They do a half day in the office doing virtual, and then they're out in the field with their supervisor shadowing any other DSR that's successful in the field to pick up and kind of learn as they go. The 2 weeks is very intensive training of what you're going to be using on a day-to-day base out in the field to be successful.
Great, thank you. Miller, we'll end the question with you.
Sure. We do not offer internships. Unfortunately, that's not something that we're set up to do. However, we do provide 5 weeks of training that goes over everything from being technical to being safe, how to be on your own, manage heat, manage the cold, manage rain, because we work in all elements. And after we do that 5 weeks worth of training, we provide a mentor that goes out with you so that you're not just going up to a house cold. You have somebody there to kind of guide you how to, work with customers. And because it's kind of an odd thing when you first do it. You're like, hey, I'm here to come into your house. It's a little odd, right? So we really try to do our best to make sure people are comfortable. Now that we've kind of had COVID rules going on, as most everybody has, we do a lot of virtual training, things like that. But the mentoring with the 6 foot distances, we have them ride in separate vans, but we definitely make sure that before any new employee is ever certified or released, that they feel absolutely comfortable working with customers on a one-on-one basis. So we do a pretty good job, I think, at providing that overall training.
Wonderful. That leads right into my kind of last question, formal question for the group, Miller. How have these roles kind of evolved in the past few months with the COVID-19 pandemic? In the role itself, responsibilities, and also regarding remote work. How has that shifted for the folks that you're hiring? And actually, Miller, I'll start with you.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, I made a lot of changes within the group, believe it or not. We provide masks, gloves, booties, we've got hand sanitizer, bleach. We've done pretty much anything and everything we can think of to ensure risk is mitigated. We work with customers, sometimes even outside of their home. So we sometimes don't even go inside. We will kind of talk them through. I mean, the advent of even what we're doing here with Zoom, FaceTime, things like that. We find creative ways to provide service to our customers. And of course, we always make sure that, our employees are safe as well. We're cleaning around the office on a very regular basis. So COVID has changed the way we do things to a certain degree, but we're definitely able to still manage the employee safety, customer safety, and their expectations.
Thank you, Miller. Robbie, do you mind going next?
Yeah, absolutely. So COVID has definitely changed our worlds. One of the things that we do in sales and marketing, and probably Rosie as well, all of our interviews are virtual now. So we do interviews using a platform called Modern Hire, where the candidate and the hiring manager can see each other and take their interview that way. So we're starting our social distancing right from the get-go. We don't bring people in for live interviews anymore. Once they do start, we send out notifications prior to the start to let people know that we have a health check every day. We take our temperature before we come to work. We report all that. And all of our groups do that if they're coming into a building or if they're going to customers' homes or going to their store and going to see the customer. So we do our health checks every day. Within the stores, we're marked off for social distancing on our floors. We have kind of a dance that we do with the customer. If they bring equipment in, we step back, they step back. So we make sure that we're taking the appropriate distancing. Everyone that is in a customer-facing role wears a mask for the duration of their workday while they're in the customer-facing role. if they're not in a customer facing role, or if they're in the back of house, then they can take their mask off when they're having lunch or things like that. But anytime they're around other people, they're wearing a mask. Hand sanitizer, the cleanliness within the store is done on a schedule. So we're making sure that we're wiping down counters and the demo units and everything to keep both the customers and our employees safe. And you know, it's trying times that we're all in, but I feel safe coming to work, and I feel safe about our environments and what we're doing and what we're asking our employees to do. And and we're providing the masks and sanitizers and all of that for our employees as well, and gloves.
Great. Next, I'll turn the question to Rosie.
Yes, very similar to Robbie, you know, sanitizing, cleaning around the clock for the call center. The agents are provided with masks, gloves, sanitation for their individual desks. We do social distancing when it comes to not only training, but here we do offer work at home. You do have to be an agent for at least 6 months to be eligible, and there's other qualifications to that: virtual training, virtual interviews, emailing the candidates with all the information before they start, as well as I mentioned with the virtual training that we do here in the call center.
Thank you, Rosie. Last but not least, Sandra.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's similar to Rob and Rosie. Once at the beginning of putting this candidate and setting them up for interview, we are doing virtual with the supervisor and the candidate. Once the candidate has been in the process and gets hired and ready to start, their first day is more of virtual with their supervisor, getting their login information and stuff like that. Once they are in the office, we are providing masks. They do wear the mask inside the office, anywhere if they go to, you know, lunchroom, anything like that. We have the social distance 6 feet from each other if we have more than one start. Once they're out in the field, they are giving, of course, their hand sanitizer, gloves, the you know, equipment to be safe out in the field. Right now, all DSRs are not reporting to the office. We are keeping them safe at home, and they start their day from home out in the field to make it a lot safer. Instead of them coming in and for their meetings when they need to, they're doing it virtual, you know, sanitizing the areas when they are here, but they try not to come in their main location office. They start to go out in the field to be safer out in the field and you know, wear their gear equipment to be safe.
Wonderful. Thank you, Sandra. Turning over now, I'll read through some of our questions in the chat. I believe the first one is regarding hourly positions, pay, commissions, specifically for Robbie, but I want to open it up to the whole panel. I think a few of you mentioned this. What is the starting rate? And then is there opportunities within the organization to increase that rate depending on any given factors? So I'll start with Robbie for that question.
Yeah, so within our stores organizations, depending on the geography, the minimum hourly rate that we see in the Inland Empire is about $14.50 an hour, and then commission on top of that. The commission at plan for the first year is around $11,000 additional per year, and that's earned monthly and paid monthly. And there's other incentives that pop up during the year, contests and things like that, to keep people motivated and you know, looking forward to things. But the total compensation, no one in the organization of Spectrum should be earning less than $15 an hour. And then, you know, that's the total compensation, and that will continue to rise over the next several years. So.
Thanks, Robbie. Miller, I'll turn to you next for this question.
Yes, we actually have.
Uh-oh, he got muted.
My apologies.
Right, let's try that.
I accidentally muted instead of me.
No worries. So I think currently we are approximately $18 an hour. I know that we're going to be moving up from there. We also have a performance bonus that comes out every month that is tiered ranked. So we rank ourselves against ourselves, and you know, we provide bonuses based off of performance. So if you're in the top 10%, you get X. Top 20%, you get another, you know, X amount of payout, and it just kind of goes down from there. So that's another opportunity just based off of performance to kind of increase your overall yearly wage. And of course, we've got the progressions and things like that. But one of the other things is Robbie kind of stated, depending upon your area, but yeah, no one should be making less than the 15 that she talked about.
Thank you, Miller. Rosie, I'll go to you next for this question.
Yes, so our entry level hourly rate is $16.50 an hour. Now here in the call center, we do offer a shift differential. So the agents that work any shift that starts after 11 a.m. Can make 75 cents additional per hour work. Now we don't have bonuses or incentives or commissions because we are technical support. So we deal with technical support, billing questions, anything that has to do with sales or moving, we transfer to another department. Now we are looking to hopefully increase our hourly rate and starting within the next maybe few years to start at $20, but for now we are at $16.50 an hour.
Thanks, Rosie. Sandra.
Yes, the DSL role is at $24,100 a year plus the uncapped commission. An average sales rep can make anywhere between I would say, the $55,000 to $65,000 a year. And those top performers, DSRs, are making about $100K a year. We offer the bonus. I know Robbie mentioned as well that they have throughout the month they have some contests and for them to make a little bit more money. That also happens, but for the most part, it's their base salary plus the uncapped commission. And excuse me, they basically can determine how much they make based on the uncapped commission.
Thank you all. Our next question from Muriel in the chat. She says the job developers are hosting workshops to help students with mock virtual interviews. Do you have any suggestions on what we can share with students on your virtual interview processes? And I'll start with Rosie for that.
For the virtual interviews, I look at, before contacting the agent or the candidate, making sure that they're eligible, they're qualified, make sure that you, when you're preparing your resume, that you're going to go ahead and make your resume based on the position that you're applying for, your skills, your experience. I'm looking for someone that's outgoing, someone that is a fast learner, somebody that just has a positive attitude, is able to be very detailed and descriptive when we're asking questions, so we can get to know them a little better and get to know their experiences a little better.
Thanks, Rosie. Miller.
Yes, so a lot like Rosie's summation, I feel like making sure that you do have a good fit with the job posting. But one of the biggest things for us is I can teach you how to interact. I can teach you how to technically interact with customers, but the one thing I can't teach you is a good attitude and being here on time. We pretty much provide everything else. I provide tools, uniforms, a vehicle, the training, you name it, we provide help. But the two things that I can't help you with is a good attitude and being on time and being willing to work. If you bring that, you're going to be pretty successful with my team for sure. And I'm sure with everybody's team, really.
Yeah.
Thanks, Miller. Robbie, same question.
Yeah, so what I would suggest for virtual interviews is that people be dressed in, at least from the waist up, in something professional, that they smile, that they try and put as much of their personality onto their screen as they can, try and be in an area free of distractions and away from noises and pets and kids if possible. I heard from one of our managers last week that someone sat down on their bed and then laid back. Probably not the best idea for virtual interview, but really trying to convey your excitement about the opportunity. Ask good questions, make sure that you're prepared with questions. That's probably one of the biggest things that people need to come to an interview with, be it in person or be it virtual, that you have your, that you're ready for it. You know a little bit about the company that you're interviewing with, and you ask questions, at the end. Even if they've done a great job of covering things, have some general questions that you want to know, either about the people or about that person, what brought them to the company and why they like working there. But those are key things I would think that you really want to convey. And virtual interviews are a little bit harder because you're not there to, get body language as much as you can in person, but you're still got your facial expressions. So you really need to make sure that you're conveying a happy attitude.
Whole new world, right?
Yep.
Sandra, we'll end this question with your response.
What can I say? Everybody said everything, right? So, 100% dress to impress, right? Ask questions, do the research about the company, be ready to interact, and make the interview go the way you want it to go. I always tell my candidate, me as a recruiter, I'm the middle person. I give you all the information you need for the interview about the position. You make it happen based on your outcome of this interview. You own it, right? So you make it happen. Like Robbie said, you want to dress to impress, a nice maybe area where you have good connection, no distractions. And ask the questions. I have candidates that come back saying, well, what was the base again? And, I told them the base, and they still have questions. They didn't ask the supervisor, but then they come to me and ask me. So, it can be the simplest question can make a big old difference in the interview for sure.
Thank you for that, Sandra. I'll start with you for this kind of complimentary question. How long does the hiring process generally take now that you've moved to a kind of online interview, but start to finish from applicant initially sending to letting them know a start date or if they got the position or not? What does that process look like?
Potentially, I do a pre-screen. I would like to book them within the 24-hour window. Once they've been interviewed, we usually get feedback within the less than 24 hours, if not that same, within the hour or that same day. The RFO, or the offer letter, is routed within the time you get the email from the hiring manager. That usually takes a couple hours. So you're looking to get an offer out to that candidate that may be interviewed at 12 noon, maybe the end of day, the same business day, or first thing tomorrow morning, the next day. After they moved forward and accepted their offer and, did e-signatures and authorization and things like that to authorize to start running the ball for the position, usually can take about 2 weeks. I've seen people clear within 24, 48 hours. I've seen people be in background for a month. It just depends, if they lived in multiple states and if they're John Smith and things like that. So normal average, an average 2 weeks window or so.
Thank you. Rosie, I'll go to you next.
Yes. Now, for our department, because we do typically hire in large amounts, sometimes 24, sometimes 48, my hiring process does take a little bit longer. Once I do post a position, it might take me a week and a half to start contacting agents or candidates, just because I do like to get a big pool once I review the candidates' the qualifications. Now, once we start calling, we pre-screen. We typically do the virtual interview, or we schedule the virtual interview within 24 to 48 hours, depending on how much time I have in advance from my in-house supervisors that do the virtual interviews. Now, once we do 2 interviews. So one is with the supervisor. If it's a great candidate, great fit, they move on to a manager interview. So if they were to interview today, excuse me, we typically do a manager interview within 24 hours. The candidates do know that same day whether or not we're going to be moving forward with them, so I contact them. So we present an offer same day as a manager interview. And same as Sandra mentioned, the offer letter, everything, it takes about 2 weeks depending on the candidate's background information from the time that the offer is made until the offer, until they clear. So I would say maybe about 3 weeks to maybe a month from start to finish when they start on their first day.
Great, thank you, Rosie. I'm going to backtrack a little bit because I see we have a question on, are these interviews with the panel? So Rosie, you addressed that a little bit with the manager interview and the timeline. Let me go back to you, Sandra, and Rosie, for these interviews in the hiring process? Is this a panel interview, or is it going to be more one-on-one and then they move to a different type of interview if they proceed to the next stage?
Yeah, for my interviews, it's one-on-one. So we do a pre-screen one-on-one with myself, and then we move on with a one-on-one with the supervisor and one-on-one with the manager.
Great, thank you. And Sandra?
They do one-on-one with me. We do the pre-screen, and normally it would be one-on-one with the supervisor unless the supervisor is fairly new to the role. Then we have the manager sit in or another supervisor, but for the most part is one-on-one with me as a first step, and then the second would be with the supervisor from there.
Great, thank you both. I'll turn it to Robbie and then Miller, but same question. What does the hiring process look like? And then is that more one-on-one, panel style, or other styles for your interviews?
So for the stores positions, the candidates, as I mentioned earlier, do take an assessment. And so based on their scoring of the assessment, the highest scoring candidates go first. We kind of keep that in line for compliance purposes so that we treat everybody fairly. But so a candidate that scores well on the assessment will be contacted typically within a week of their application, sometimes within a day, but for sure within a week, they should hear from us. The interview process it's just a screen with the recruiter and then one interview with the hiring leader. So our goal is to have a one and done interview process once they meet with the hiring leader. And then the decisions are typically made within a couple of days of their interview, depending on how many candidates that hiring leader is seeing for how many openings. So if there's just one opening and 5 candidates, it could take a couple of days of interviews for that hiring leader to complete those. Once the decision is made, goes along with what both Rosie and Sandra have said, the background process takes anywhere from 2 to 3 weeks. And then in our group, typically start dates are every other week in the stores, just to provide social distancing and not have them with a lot of idle time that's not in training. So every other week, we're starting people within the stores to get rolling on their training program. So it moves pretty fast once they've completed an assessment and had a screen with the recruiter.
Thanks. Miller.
Yeah, ours takes typically about 6 weeks, and the breakdown is something like this, where we have the posting up for about a week. We have a recruiter that contacts them based off of their assessment. We also have an assessment. And then we schedule a job fair style interview process. Now that might change. I haven't done this with the COVID rule, so we may end up doing something a little different, but we were typically scheduling, 20 or 30 people coming to the office. Now I would have to guess that we're going to schedule a lot more virtual. We would definitely see the virtual would be with a supervisor, and then depending upon the location. So for example, my office, we have 4 managers. So typically 2 managers will do a second, and then we'll put them into backgrounds, which could take anywhere from 3 to 21 days. And then we provide a start date working with our L&D team. So it usually takes about 6 weeks, approximately from the time of applying.
Great, thank you all. Our next question, Miller, you mentioned different pay scales, different things like that based on performance. Can you give us an idea of what that looks like for a field tech? So I'll open this to Miller, and then anyone else feels this is relevant to them, please jump in as well.
Okay, so we don't have necessarily a pay scale. It's kind of an incentive at the end of each month based off of performance. We rank everybody against each other, and if you fall into a certain tier, you get kind of a payout, a bonus payout. So it changes. If the area is doing really bad, it's still the same. It's still the same ranking. It's based off of a bell curve. So that's kind of what it looks like. It's just an additional way of incentivizing performance. If you do really well, you get a little extra every month. And so, we appreciate it. We try to honor the hard work. We try to promote that performance, and that's one of the ways we do it.
Thanks, Miller. You gave me school flashbacks there when you said bell curve.
Sorry, but yes.
Anyone else on the team, does this apply to you? Different incentives or pay scale different dependent on performance?
Definitely within our stores organization, there's always some type of incentive, you know, based on maybe where we have a need to increase our sales. Maybe it's, you know, new mobile connections or things like that. And they'll have a little extra incentive tied to the process in that particular month or quarter. It just depends. But they make it fun. They give posters and launch dates with those things, pizza parties, stuff to make it fun and exciting. Because certainly, you know, doing the same thing every day, you've got to add a little extra twist to it. So within the stores, they definitely try to make those incentives fun and get the healthy competition going between the employees.
Yeah, for the direct sales role, a little bit like Bob just mentioned, you know, the types of competitions that they have, friendly ones, you know, within individuals independently as well as different regions, because for example, Orange County is Orange Crush, and then they have maybe an LA market that they have another team out there, so they play competition with different regions as well as in the same office individually. Normally every month they have a recognition call. They recognize those top performers. They recognize it, give them some nice medals and little door knock pins on that for their little keychain where their badge hangs. And you know, we have some very good top, you know, DSRs out there making really good money, and I think they really like that, as Rob just mentioned, you know, giving them a little bit of a recognition and of course feeding them for they have energy to go back out in the field and make it happen at least once a month. They love it. So I've been able to attend here in Orange County as well in LA and out in Irwindale area and IE. So that's very, you know, they really like that, and they are able to interact with maybe somebody that they really don't know, and they talk about the role and what do you do, and they share their tips, and you know, everybody picks up from somebody else, which is great.
Perfect. We very, very similar. We have incentives here, which is friendly competition within your peers for, you know, top 10% or, you know, whoever has perfect attendance. We just recently gave out, I think, 2 60-inch TVs or Amazon gift cards for those that receive top customer satisfaction surveys. And so we definitely do keep the friendly competition environment here. Also to incentivize those that are coming into the call center, we have a couple food trucks that do come in that provide lunch for all of the employees that are working here at the call center. So, you know, we try, I mean, aside from the career progression, which we look at the last 9-12 months worth of performance scorecards for the agents, top 20 usually are the ones that, you know, after they take an assessment, then they're able to make up to 10%. And this is, you know, a couple of times we do it every year.
Wonderful. Thank you all for that. We're nearing the end of our time together, about the last 5 minutes. I want to end with just a question regarding how the community colleges or education partners, I know we have a couple folks from K-12 on the line as well. In 30 seconds to a minute, what would a partnership beyond kind of these events and educating our workforce, both incumbent and students who are graduating into the job fields today, what might some partnerships look like for your areas?
Well, I'll jump
in. Thanks, Robbie.
So, you know, in our organization in stores, we love to keep in touch with our community partners. We have opportunities that come up all the time and fast and furious. In my world, we'll have a position in one in Rancho and one in Riverside and 2 in Fontana. So they just move around and they're kind of fast. Where I know that Rosie and Miller both hire for classes where they hire more people at a time. But to really be able to, you know, communicate with one another, if you're with an outstanding student who really has a desire to work in a retail setting, shoot me an email or give me a call and just let me know. And I can let you know where we've got opportunities. And, you know, work back and forth. And then, you know, periodically I may reach out to you and say, hey, you know, who do you know? We've got a new store that's opening. We're going to need 6 people and things like that. That's where I tend to, you know, try to reach out, is when I've got a volume of opportunities. But there's always singular opportunities everywhere in what we do, because retail is a type of position where people will stay for a while, they'll finish school, or they'll move on. Some people make a career of it, and other people are here for a while. So there's always opportunities, and we love working with our community partners to try and fill those opportunities and get a reputation going both directions.
Same here. You know, making and having connections with multiple community partners is a plus for my DSR role as well. My positions are more like Robbie just mentioned. You know, I have positions in the IE, Riverside, Indio, out in the desert area as well, or Wendell. You know, and you know, most of it is more individually. We're looking at one here, one there, and you know, versus Miller and Rosie, they have, you know, more than one position at a time. You know, I think max it would probably be anywhere between 2 to 5, if that, in one certain spot or one certain location as a team. But for the most part, it's having a connection, because you know, sometimes you do have that massive, maybe 5 to 6 head count, and having that connection with your community partners is a plus. I know we did this last year, Rob, and I know I kept contact with maybe some people on the call already. You know, got their business cards, always good, and you know, just to touch base maybe once a month or every other month or so. So you have that connection, and don't lose it, right? Because it works both ways.
Definitely very, very similar. So before COVID, we were involved in a lot of, you know, city job fairs, county job fairs, and we definitely keep in touch. Just same with here. If you guys have anybody that's definitely interested in entry level, typically our positions do work very well with students, because our call center is open from 5:45 a.m. to 1 a.m. So a lot of the, you know, students are looking for maybe a full-time position, but more in the evening or in the morning. So definitely it's a good fit. But I do tend to keep in touch with all of my connects, and we go back and forth. So definitely very helpful to keep in touch with our connections.
Yeah, as far as my team goes, typically I work with whatever my local recruiter is when we have an opening that is, you know, anywhere from 6 to 12 people, depending. But anybody's able to reach out to me, and I'll let them know if I have anything open or where I know where job positions are. I typically will send out to just my team. I can't send it out externally, but I do know where a lot of job postings are, because I send it out to my team for the state of California, because we do have a lot of promotional opportunities. So I'm always kind of keeping in the know, letting my internal employees know. But if they have somebody that might fit, maybe, you know, engineering, like that sort of technical kind of thing, you know, they can always reach out. I can let them know if I have something, and then we can work from there. I'm not opposed to talking to people as well. I don't mind. I work at the housing events through Spectrum. I wouldn't, if I could be authorized, I'd even go and talk with any of the partners. That's fine. I'd give my time if I need to. Yeah, I'll do it.
Well, thank you all. What a great note to end on. Just in the midst of the chaos, there's still partnerships and opportunities for students. So thank you to Miller, Robbie, Rosie, and Sandra for that wonderful panel. I'd like to thank the rest of the Spectrum team, specifically Tiffany and Sandra, who helped organize this. And for closing remarks, I'd just like to introduce my boss, Jason Cordova, who is the Vice President of the Inland Empire Economic Partnership.
Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Just wanted to say a personal thank you to the Spectrum Charter team, Assemblymember Cervantes, our educational partners that are on the line. I know that everybody's extremely busy with back-to-back Zoom calls and just the new nature of work. So again, I really appreciate taking time to share your knowledge and expertise and making yourselves available. I know it means a lot, and the folks on the line really represent thousands of students. And folks in the region. So again, yeah, your impact is felt. I also want to thank our team and Lisa, great moderating. And with that, I think we'll end 1 minute late. So again, thank you everybody for participating. And if you need any follow-up, please feel free to contact the IEP team. Take care.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys.